Tonight, on The Big Story, the Ombudsman sees the former Speaker's hand in the recantation of 4 so-called Maleta boys. But Martin Romualdez was quick to wash his hands off the development. While both in the middle of what could be a legal battle, mother and son lawmakers Loren Legarda and Leandro Leviste fly off to Europe. Caskets with anti-China messages are dumped in various parts of Metro Manila at dawn today. Authorities ask who did it and why. And some good news at the pump. Another oil price rollback could be coming. Good evening, I'm Ces Orenia Drilon. We begin with 4 former bodyguards who linked former House Speaker Martin Romualdez withdrawing their testimonies on the flood control scandal. The Ombudsman, who is finalizing the case against Romualdez, is not taking this lightly, to the extent that Boying Remulla is accusing the congressman as the one behind it all. Mobile journalist Arles de los Santos has tonight's big story.
For Ombudsman Boying Remulla, there is only one person who will benefit from the withdrawal of testimonies by some of the 18 men who identified themselves as former bagmen of Zaldico, and that is former House Speaker Martin Romualdez. According to Remulla, it is clear that there are people persuading these potential witnesses to reverse their statements, testimonies which at this point remain crucial to the case to be filed against Romualdez. 4 of the 18 alleged bagmen have withdrawn their testimonies, of whom 3 have executed new affidavits. To recall, the 18 revealed in February this year that they delivered suitcases of money from Cotto Romualdez. The Ombudsman took individual affidavits from the group, and 8 of these were used for the case build-up against the late congressman.
The affidavits are there for us to use, and we will use them. And if they want to recant it, so be it. But it will be in court already. It doesn't weaken or strengthen, but of course, it just points out to the fact that there are people working on his behalf to obstruct the ends of justice.
Sir, just to clarify, you're saying po na posible na ang kampo po ni na Martin Romualdez ang nasa likod sa pagrekanto ng APA?
Siyempre. Sino pa? Sino pa ibang makikinabang dyan pag nag-recant yan? O, di ba?
Remulla also warned lawyers who are helping the group with recantation. He said this could be considered as obstruction of justice. The 4 who took back their testimonies could also face charges.
Ang recantation is frowned upon by the courts. That is the way that the courts are supposed to treat recantations. Especially, ito nga, twice na nag-issue ng testimonies against Romualdez itong mga to. Kaya, when we bring them up as hostile witnesses, makikita nyo naman eh. Lalabas namin sila as hostile witnesses.
Sir, what will happen doon sa apat na since nag-recant sila, itong affidavit ay dadalhin ba dito?
They'll be charged.
What charge, sir?
To be part of the, as part of the, we will do it. We will, as one of the accused. Na-charge namin sila.
In which case?
That's natural. Kasi nga, kaya nga hindi sila chinarge. Kasi nga, tumitistigo sila. Pag hindi sila tumitistigo, di charge namin sila. O, co-accused na sila.
Co-accused sila ni Martin Romualdez?
Magiging co-accused sila. Meron silang
in what particular
accessories.
case, sir?
Accessories after the fact. Covering up. Pinagtatakpan nila. Kung ano ang nagpalit sa kanilang isipan.
The Ombudsman also denied the allegation that those who recanted were under duress when they executed their affidavits. Remulla said they have recordings of the execution of the affidavits that would prove they were not coerced. Protection was also offered to the group, which they declined. Meanwhile, Remulla assured that the recantations would not affect the case that they are building against Romualdez.
Meron rin naman kami recording
Okay.
ng lahat na nangyari. May recording kami ng lahat. Kaya, okay lang yan. Kasi nga, some lawyers think that it's still the same old days, that they can frustrate the ends of justice that way. We will not take it sitting down. Lalabanan namin sila hanggang dulo. We will identify them and make sure that they get dropped from the role of attorneys.
Sir, just last.
Play dirty, then you have to face up to the consequences of playing dirty with us.
In a statement, Romualdez denied Remulla's allegation that he orchestrated the testimony withdrawal of some of the so-called Maleta boys. He said the recantations only prove that the allegations being thrown against him in connection with the flood control scandal are false. According to the bagman's lawyer, Levi Baligod, it is possible that fear overcame the four. He also admits some members of the group have long been offered bribes to reverse their statements.
Tingnan natin, hindi natin masasabi yan kung mangyayari o hindi. Sabi nila na takot na sila sa kanilang seguridad. No? Gusto na rin nilang manahimik kasi hirap din yung biyahe-biyahe pabalik Manila. No? Gawing preliminary investigation, and then ito, hearing. And then matagal na yan na sinusuhulan sila para bumaliktad. Katulad nung naipakita ko kanina sa inyo, meron nga isang nag-text na sinasabi, pasensya ka na sir dahil sa ating nararanasan na tentasyon, sabi niya, no? At maraming mga personal na rason. Ang isa dyan yung pamilya. Kasi alam nyo yung mga forces of the government, pinupuntahan pati kamag-anak nila, asawa, mga pamilya, kapitbahay, no? So iba-iba yung pumupunta sa kanila.
Reacting to this development, which involves President Bongbong Marcos's cousin, here is what Malacanang says.
Kung ano man ang mga naimbestigahan ng Office of the Ombudsman sa Maleta Boys patungkol kay dating Speaker Romualdez at ibang naituturo pa, ay nasa kamay na po yan ng Office of the Ombudsman.
Kapatid Arles de los Santos, we are One News.
Congressman Leandro Leviste and his mother, Senator Loren Legarda, are now overseas. The Bureau of Immigration confirmed this, saying both legislators had no derogatory records at the time of their departure. NBI Director Melvin Matibag had this to say on the mother and son's leaving.
Ang reaction ko, mag-ingat siya sa biyahe niya. Happy trip sa kanya. Sabi nga ni General Gentore, ingat po sa biyahe, di ba?
In an interview with Ted Filon and DJ Chacha on True FM, Matibag gave further details on how Legarda and Leviste left the country and where they were headed.
Pares po sila ni Senator Legarda na umalis.
So, confirm po yun, kasama po yung kanyang nanay, si Senator.
Magkaiwalay po, si
okay.
Leandro Leviste po umalis po noong August 2, papuntang Hong Kong. Yun po yung kanyang biyahe. Si Senator naman po umalis noong August 2 rin, magkaiba po na flight via Hong Kong, pero ang final destination is France. So yun po yung details na nandiyan, ano po.
Leviste was a no-show yesterday at the NBI after being subpoenaed. This is in connection with the investigation into the alleged honey trap plot against Executive Secretary Ralph Recto. Former Congressman Jing Paras also did not turn up. According to Matibag, Paras and Leviste are requesting copies of the evidence against them so they can respond properly. Matibag denied that request. The NBI has again summoned Leviste and Paras on August 11.
Ang problema po nito, fact-finding po ito eh. Hindi pa naman po sila considered na may kaso, kakasuhan. Gusto namin magbigay linaw po sila doon po sa mga lumabas nga po na issue na ito. Kumbaga gusto rin namin po silang tulungan kung talagang hindi sila involved. Dapat po siguro papanagutin natin itong mga tao na naglalamay po sa kanilang pangalan.
Meanwhile, Leviste's counsel Ferdinand Topacio questioned why Matibag is making a big deal out of his client's trip. Topacio said there's no court case nor whole departure order issued to restrict the movement of his client and his mother. Aside from the alleged plot to frame Executive Secretary Ralph Recto, Leviste and Legarda are being investigated by the Ombudsman for possible plunder and graft related to the congressman's solar energy projects. Ombudsman Boying Remulla believes the mother and son will return to the Philippines.
Yung ba tatakasan talaga nila? I don't think tatakas sila. Babalik yan. Baka gusto nilang umuwi na nakaposas pag hindi sila bumalik, di ba? Oh.
Senator Legarda has issued a statement on her sudden absence. Legarda says she filed for medical leave with the Senate covering August 3 to 5. She likewise asked the public not to draw unwarranted conclusions from her travel or link it to the recent false and baseless allegations against her. In other news, the Education Department's Davao City Division has apologized for the heckling of President Bongbong Marcos last July 28. Marcos was in the city to inspect government projects and structures damaged by the magnitude 7.8 quake on June 8. In a statement, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the youth cannot learn proper conduct if the leaders they look up to are crude, profane, and wish harm on others. Castro called the incident a reflection of what young people learn from their surroundings. In response, the DepEd Schools Division in Davao City said they have identified the 4 learners behind the heckling. Their parents and guardians have been summoned and interventions have been done. The division assured such conduct is not tolerated in Davao City public schools. And it's Friday again, you guessed it. Our resident political pundit is back to give his insights on the week that was in Philippine politics. And now we welcome back to the big story, our Friday, the Dalai Lama, Ronald Llamas, who just walked in the studio. Why don't we pull up your chair a bit? O okay ka lang dyan? Parang ang tangkad ko dito eh.
Talaga yung Dalai Lamas mo, no?
Oo nga. O, eto. Madaming bad news, as your favorite lawyer said in a now deleted post, Attorney Jimmy Bondoc. Unang-una, yung recantation nitong mga Maleta boys. You know, if the case of the ombudsman is hinged on the Maleta boys' testimony, ano sa tingin mo, di ba? Mabuti na nga nag-recant sila, pero galit na galit ang ombudsman.
Yes, dahil mukhang may usapan na sila eh. Yung 8. Di ba? Yung 8 dun sa 18.
Right.
So, tapos ngayon, nag-recant naman yung 4 sa 8. Talaga magagalit yung ombudsman. Di ba? Lalo na kung yan yung gagamitin niyang ebidensya laban sa laban kay Speaker
Correct.
Martin Romualdez, di ba? Wala naman si Saldico rito na nagdiin kay Martin Romualdez. Wala rin si Gutesa. Hanggang ngayon, di pa nahanap yung nagdiin sa kanya sa Blue Ribbon. So, ano yung kanilang magiging smoking gun? Although, sabi ni Ombudsman Ombudsman Boying Remulla,
nasa ibang administrasyon ka.
Sabi ni Ombudsman Boying Remulla ay hindi naman humina yung kaso. Pero siyempre, salita na niya yun.
Pero kung nga, yung kaso niya ay nag-centered lamang dito sa 8, nag-recant na yung 4, mahina. Because for one, paiba-iba sila ng mga sinasabi.
Yes. I agree.
Yeah, there should be more.
Dahil from the very start, yung 18 na may dagdag bawas dun sa
hindi
kanilang
sila
mga
credible
maleta,
diba?
ay medyo tainted na yung kanilang testimony.
Yes.
At ang dami na nagsampa ng kaso ng libel.
Ng libel, cyber libel against them.
So, hindi ko alam kung paano yan gagamitin as a smoking gun. No? Maliban na lang kung si Bonoan, na ngayon na hindi pa malinaw kung state witness or hindi, ay merong smoking gun na ipapakita. Dahil siya yung head ng DPWH.
So otherwise, the case will collapse? Ano
Hindi.
yung sinasabi niyang recording? Hindi ko masyadong... or can it be, if he's able to prove, because parang he's very certain in saying that it's the former speaker behind this recantation. Kung ma-prove niya yon, well, what other motivation does the former speaker have in making them recant, right?
Yeah.
If not that he's guilty. Kung yan ma-prove niya, because he spoke really firmly, pwede.
Pero ibang kaso yun. Hindi yung plunder. Baka falsification.
Hindi.
Or influencing daw. Anong klaseng kaso?
Obstruction of justice.
Oo. Ang obstruction, di naman, ako naman yun. Bailable naman yun. So,
tila ang daming dagok ng Office of the Ombudsman. Unang, the first that happened was the grant of bail in the case
Yeah.
of Revilla, Senator Revilla.
na inamin niya na tinrabaho.
Yun na nga.
Oo, alam naman natin kung anong ibig sabihin
Oo,
ng
yun na
trinabaho,
nga.
di ba? Eh kung trinabaho, wala ba kayong power para pigilan yan? Or at least baguhin man lang? Di ba?
Yeah.
Or magpapatuloy ang ganyang klaseng...
Kung ang mismong ombudsman ang nagsasabi na nun.
malaki talaga yung problema ng ating judicial institutions, di ba? Ang laki na nga ng problema ng Senate noon, laki na ng problema ng executive tsaka ng Congress. Madadamay pa ngayon itong judiciary, no? No less than the ombudsman ang sinabi, tinrabaho ito.
Yun na nga eh.
No? Tapos ngayon lumabas pa ng bansa yung kakasuhan din nila ng plunder. Si Loren at saka yung kanyang anak na kongresista. Nagulat lang ako ron dahil usually, ikaw ay high government official, pag lalabas ka ng bansa, hihingian ka ng Bureau of Immigration ng permiso. Sabi ni Win Gatchalian, wala naman siyang binigay na permiso. Usually, hindi ka makakalabas ng bansa. Lahat kami. Kinakailangan namin, kung sino yung head namin, hihingi kami ng permiso ron at letter. At ipapakita namin yon sa Bureau of Immigration. Lalo na si Loren, kilalang-kilala siya na lahat.
Plus, there's an impeachment trial ongoing.
Yes. No, anong usual na excuse? Sick leave.
Yan nga eh. Pero
3 to 5 daw. Lampas na
Oo nga eh.
Pupunta ka ng France?
Her statement is asking the public not to give any meaning. But if you are doing this at this time, right?
During the impeachment.
Yeah.
No?
And then when the ombudsman announces that he's looking into this plunder case.
Ganda lang timing, di ba?
Diba?
Tapos sick leave ng 3 to 5. Ano na naman date? 7 na, di ba? So,
Oo nga.
7 na. So,
At saka, bakit sa Europa?
Oo.
Kaya layo-layo, yung biyahe mo pa lang, babalik ka na.
Hindi, pero yung sick leave, hindi sinabi na lalabas ng bansa. Dahil kung lalabas ka ng bansa, hihingi ka ng permiso
Okay.
Lalo na, meron kang
this is
kaso
also
sa ombudsman.
very questionable.
So, di ba nila dapat tanungin yung Bureau of Immigration na nagbigay, na nagpalabas sa mag-ina?
Sino ang magsasamon yan? NBI?
DOJ, under ng Department of Justice
but
yan.
wala actually. It's just an announcement kasi na magkaka-investigation. Yung kay Leviste, Congressman Leviste, parang he's evading a subpoena.
Yes, pero yung nanay niya, kailangan ng permiso galing sa Senate President kung lalabas siya ng bansa. Yun ang sinasabi ko.
Okay.
No? Iba pa yung watch list Iba pa yung whole departure order.
Okay.
No? Pero kung mismo yung ombudsman, sinabihang kakasuhan siya, dapat may watch list man lang. Ibig sabihin, i-inform nila yung ahensya na, uy, lumalabas dahil watch list
Yeah.
Pero even kahit walang watch list, kailangan ng permit ng Senate President para ikaw ay makalabas ng bansa.
So, ethics case ba yan? Anong pwede? Wala namang kaso pa.
Ang hirap ang sampa ng ethics case sa Senate Hindi yan nagpa-prosper dahil na co-equal, collegial body. No?
So, and do you expect Senate President Win Gatchalian to, castigate a fellow senator?
Well, duda ako kung babalik siya. Yung sabi ni Ombudsman na babalik siya or else igagapo sila pa uwi. Tingin mo ba si Loren, tsaka yung anak niya, na
she has a reputation to protect.
Na
If she hindi na babalik, anong ibig sabihin nun?
Anong pipiliin mo? Reputation o yung makukulong ka kahit isang araw lang?
Ba't ka naman makukulong?
Plunder yung gusto ikaso sa iyo
Kung hindi naman siya guilty.
Kulong ka pa rin dahil non-bailable yun
Hindi.
Ibig sabihin kung
If the case is weak.
Well, even if the case is weak.
If you are confident that you are not guilty, you didn't commit any offense.
No.
Pero ba't ka tatakas?
Nakita mo, isa sa pinaka-powerful sa inyo, si Marcoleta nakulong. Si Jinggoy nakulong. Diba? Tapos si Alan Peter mukhang kakasuhan din. Kakabahan ka na kahit isang araw, isang linggo lang makulong, ninervisin yung mga yan.
So,
dahil never pa sila, may sense of entitlement No? Makukulong siya. Tingin ko hindi na i-risk yun. kahit nga si Martin, di ba, sabi ng ombudsman, sumubok umalis. Di ba? Dahil kahit
Pero
mahina...
dinenay naman niya.
kahit mahina kasi yung kaso, pagsampa nun sa Sandigan Bayan...
So, nagkaroon ng misstep si Boying dito. Siguro sana hindi na lang siya nag-presko.
Mahilig siya mag-press con, mag-announce, di ba? Oo.
But flight is guilt eh.
Yes, yun yung
Flight
problema
is
ni
guilt.
Loren. Flight is guilt. No?
Is
Lalo
she gonna
na-
sit out?
Lalo na kaya hindi siya dadalo, hindi siya babalik immediately during impeachment.
Yeah. Her 2-day absence na nga was a bit...
2 days lang ba? Parang buong linggo siyang wala. I'm not sure.
From the impeachment trial.
Yeah, from the
Kasi-
impeachment, yung 3 days
3
na.
days ba? 3 days. Okay.
Nung Wednesday, wala rin siya. No.
And then, this case of this honey trap, ano ba yun? Parang, why
Mukhang-
is Congressman Leviste getting into all these shady activities? Isn't he a billionaire?
Baka may nagsabi sa kanya na, oy, itong mga kaaway mo, pwede nating sirain ang reputasyon yan. No? Dahil may balita kami na may mga weaknesses yung mga yan. Doon ako natatawa. Dahil hindi lang daw si S. Recto yung sinubukang i-honey trap. May iba pa raw. May mga lumalabas pang ibang mga pangalan.
Na close to the powerful men in the administration.
In the executive. Ano yung mga nabalitaan niya? May mga lumalabas pang ibang pangalan. Kaya kinalaska ko yung isang kakilala ko. Kasama ka pala sa honey trap.
So, lalabas din yan si NBI Director Matibag magde-name lang ng ibang mga opisyales.
Hindi ko alam kung ilalabas nila yung ibang tinrete ng honey trap. Pero seryoso yan, human trafficking yan. At hindi lang yan simpleng human trafficking.
So, are you saying mother and son, sa tingin mo this is your fearless, forecast?
Will never risk an arrest even for a single day. Even just the idea of being arrested. No.
So, they'll be in France,
Yeah.
where we have no extradition treaty, right? There's wala. That's why Saldico is there.
Yeah, pero extradition at saka asylum eh. Pag nag-file ka kasi ng asylum, no, kailangan mong tapusin yung proseso ng pag-accept or pag-reject ng asylum bago ka pwedeng palisin ng bansa. Yun yung doon nag-rely si Saldico eh. Nakapag-apply siya eh. So hinihintay niya yung proseso na medyo matagal. No, dahil ang daming asylum
So,
seekers.
pwede rin bang gawin yun ng mag-ina?
Pwede rin lang gawin. Kung hindi ka agad kikilos ang gobyerno. No?
Alam naman kasi nila, no?
Medyo mabagal
But looking at the ombudsman, he looks very, very angry. Very angry.
Dahil nakailan na siya.
Oo. Ilang dagok na to, pangatlo na.
Di ba?
Oo, pangatlo na.
Sandigan Bayan, tapos yung 4 na
Nag-recant.
Marines, no? Tapos itong pag-alis nung gusto niyang kasuhan na in-announce niya, di ba? Last week.
So, what's the lesson here?
Well, halimbawa, yung lumabas kay Bato, no? Actually, totoo naman yun. Kung huhulihin nila si Bato, total silence siya. No? Dadali na lang yan diretso sa airport, tapos lipad. Para wala nang incitement.
So, silence.
Yes.
Do these things quietly.
Until it happens, di ba?
Yeah. Don't telegraph your moves. Yon.
Exactly.
On the other hand, I guess he is leaning on the side of transparency also. This is what I'm doing because the public really wants accountability ngayon, especially dito sa flood control. So, but it has cost.
Pero na-test na nga natin eh. Umalis si Saldico, di ba? Nakatakas siya dyan. Tapos
Sa kabagalan ng gobyerno.
si Atong Ang, hindi mo alam, malamang nakalabas na rin yun, no? Hindi mo alam kung nasan si Bato, nakalabas ba siya?
Parang inutil ang
Diba?
law enforcement. Parang yan.
Well, ang sinasabi ni John Vic, bumababa daw ang statistics ng crime. Pero siyempre, ang mga tao, dahil telenovela tayo, pinapanood natin yung mga high profile eh. Yun ang hinihintay natin.
Alam mo, itong si Saldico, hindi naman closed case yan yung application niya for asylum. Kasi we could have back channels diplomatically with France, especially since the relationship has become closer. They're helping us in the West Philippine Sea. May paraan yan, especially since Europe is very strict on corruption, hindi ba? On
Yes.
money laundering, etc.
Yes, lalo na, halimbawa, today, kakasign lang natin ng 2 contracts with the French government, with French businessmen. Ang ating DPWH, may Panglao Bridge sila sa Bohol, tapos yung Department of Agriculture. Just today,
Just
Ibig sabihin,
today.
very strong
Kaya
yung ating
nga.
relasyon sa
So,
atin.
why are we
Tapos,
not-
alam ko, iniimbita si BBM for a
To
state
visit, yes,
no?
yes.
With Macron, bago matapos yung term ni Macron.
Exactly.
So, pwede lang ibulong lang yan
Kaya nga.
Arbor na to.
Hindi ba?
No? Arbor na
No,
to.
and it's, you cannot claim political persecution kung ang basis mo, kung behind that are allegations of corruption. Bakit ka magbibigay? You're France. Diba?
Yeah. I-risk mo ba yung
It's so frustrating,
good relationship mo with a country na gusto mo makipagkaibigan para sa isang tao? Siyempre, hindi.
Kaya nga. Sa tingin mo, ginagawa ba yan? O hindi?
Yeah, ginagawa yan.
No, I meant, ginagawa ba yan ng BBM
Ngayon.
administration? Pwede ba magising na kayo?
Wala naman ako sa BBM administration. Ba't ako
Hindi.
tinatanong mo?
Marami kang kilala. Or do you think they are doing
Di
this?
ba disaster nga yung nangyari kay Saldico? Hindi nila alam na
Yeah.
1 oras lang siya dinetain. Hindi nga detention yun interview. No? Ilang araw yun na hawak daw. Kung yun basic information, intelligence, dapat yung embassy natin doon, in-inform na ang rules ng Schengen, they cannot hold anyone hanggang walang kaso. Wala namang red notice, di ba?
And then the DOJ secretary traveled all the way
pumunta pa roon, di ba?
Oo nga, wala.
Dapat before, alam na niya na wala siyang aabutan. Di ba? So, napahiya pa siya, di ba?
so-
Yan yung mga bagay na, sabi mo nga, dapat ginagawa ng gobyerno.
So, paano tapos lumabas pa itong bad economic news?
Oo, 2.3, pababa ng pababa,
Yeah.
di ba?
So, I wonder what they're doing in Malacanang to address all of these things, all of these setbacks.
Well, ang paliwanag kasi nila, these are basically external. Yes and no. No? Dahil yung ating mga kapitbahay, tinatamaan din naman yan ng problema sa langis tsaka sa Strait of Hormuz. Pero bakit doble yung ating increase ng gasolina kumpara sa kanila? No? Tayo yung fastest growing economy noong 2022.
Ngayon, laggard na.
Ngayon tayo yung pinakahuli.
Kulelat na.
Oo. Tayo pinakamataas ang inflation. Tayo yung pinakabinagsak ng currency. Tayo yung pinakamataas ang deficit. No? So yung mga ganun ba, these are not only external, these are internal. No? Yung ating debt to GDP.
Kasi we're just relying, it's a consumption-driven economy kasi. Nagko-consume lang tayo.
At saka consumption, at saka remittances ang main bulwark ng ating economy, followed by government spending. Bumagal ang government spending because of this anti-corruption campaign. Kinakabahan silang pumirma. No? In one way, maganda.
Yes.
In one way, maganda.
That happened to the Aquino administration. Remember, because of the PDAF
Yung
scandal,
Napoles.
bumagal ang spending.
Yes.
Yeah.
Buti na lang, na-maintain namin yung 6% growth rate hanggang matapos yung term, di ba?
Actually, swerte si President Duterte. He inherited a good economy.
We left 1 trillion sa kaban.
The deficit was low. Ngayon, lumobo na.
Debt was record low,
Yeah, pero sige, iwan na natin yung economy. Let's go to the impeachment trial. Medyo dry yung this week. If not for Lorne Ann, hindi ba? Hindi mo masasabing dry?
Oo, sabi ni Robin Hood Padilla, di ba? Si Mawil, yung COA, tinanong siya, Mawil, saan ka pinanganak? Saan ka nag-aral? Nakalibot ka na ba sa bundok? Nakapunta ka na ba ng farm? Di ko alam kung saan papunta yung
Hindi ko
argument.
nga maintindihan. Ano bang ibig
sinasabi lang
sabihin?
niya,
Meron ka bang kakayahan? Ganon?
Parang hindi mo naman nauunawa ng insurgency. Hindi mo nauunawa ng terorismo. Kaya
Yun ba yun?
Kaya nung anniversary ng NPA, hindi sila umatake dahil successful yung confidential fund. Kaya mo yun?
Yun pala yun.
Nung pinapanood ko, nakatung.
Hindi, ibig sabihin,
ginamit yung confidential tsaka intelligence
I say
fund.
dry because apparently there are indications that the public is tuning off.
Totoo naman yun. Dahil nga, itong past 3 days sa impeachment, ang pinapakita ay mga papeles ng COA, papeles ng BIR, papeles ng mga bangko, etc. Siyempre, boring yan. Naghahanap yung mga tao yung smoking gun witness. Parang si Madriaga, Colonel La Chica, Sulaika, yun ang hinahantay nila, yung drama.
This week, medyo. Because hostile witnesses
Dalawa,
in a way.
from DepEd at saka sa OBP. Yung sa OBP, ito yung nag-collapse dati na ospital. Dati yung sa Congress. Kaya
during the
dapat
hearings.
meron na silang ambulansya, baka mag-collapse ulit. Lalo na pag si Lorna ang magka-question sa kanya.
Pero there are questions at the way the presiding officer is giving too much leeway to the defense. For instance, yung documents, dapat yan na pagkasunduan na ng pre-trial.
Yes.
Ayaw nila, di ba?
Yes.
Tapos,
Ayaw nila markahan.
pumayag na ang counsel of the prosecution panel, Attorney Capuna, na gamitin na yung dokumento ng...
Natawa nga ako eh.
ng
Ayaw nyo,
respondent.
di yung ebidensya nyo na gamitin
one
namin.
and the same rin naman yun
di ba? Yun ang gamitin namin.
Oh,
No,
why
nanonood
not?
pa ako ng Odyssey. Sabi niya, di ba?
Yun na lang
yung
ang
batayin
nagpabuhay. Pero bakit hindi nga naman? Bakit hindi nga naman? So, may mga ganyang pananaw na tinatagalan para mawalan na ng gana ang publiko at para ma-prolong yung...
Dito ko unang binanggit yun eh.
Oo nga.
Yung strategy na yun.
Tama.
To
Ikaw
bore
nga.
us to death, di ba?
Which I thought was really a weird... Natawa ko doon. Pero ngayon, ano sa tingin mo? Is Cheese...
Si Cheese kasi, dahil member siya ng majority, dati siyang minority, sinusubukan niya ipakita na balance siya. Sometimes, proving na ikaw ay balanse, minsan napupunta ka dun sa
You're leaning
defense,
too
diba?
much.
Para hindi ka magmukhang bias for the majority, no? Dapat medyo circumspect din siya dahil nga may strategy din may strategy din yung defense to bore us to death eh. Dahil malinaw kasi, malaking bahagi nitong korte na ito, court of public opinion, which will shape the opinion of the judges.
Right. Right. So, tamang strategy yon.
Not necessarily. Pwede rin sumabog sa mukha nila yan. No? Depende rin sa gagawin ng prosecution. No? Kaya kunyari, ang tawag dyan, war by other means, sabi nga ni Clausewitz. Nasa gera sila. So nag-iisip sila ng iba't ibang mga strategy para manalo. At ang kanyang audience, hindi naman isa't isa. Ang audience nila, the judges and the public.
Yeah. But we cannot afford to let the public lose interest.
Yes. Pero nakakatuwa.
Sige.
Pag sinabi ni Alan Peter na siya ay neutral, hindi ka ba natatawa? Pag sinabi niya siya ay neutral, hindi ka ba natuwa kay Aimee nung sinabi niya na wala namang katibayan na ginamit ito for public, for personal use. Anong sabi nung tiga-kuha? Pag hindi po kayo nag-liquidate, ang presumption ginamit niyo for personal use.
Yes, buti hindi siya natakot. But pinagsabihan siya ng presiding officer, do not argue with the senator judge.
Parang ang dapat sabihan yung senator judge, do not argue with the witness.
Right.
Dahil ikaw yung ikaw yung judge, ba't ka makikipag-argue?
Exactly. So,
manifestation lang yung pwede sa'yo eh.
Medyo baliktad ata.
Kaya tama ka, baka medyo naglilin siya na masyado namang affirmative action for the defense para hindi siya magmukhang bias.
Siguro ito na lang panghuli. Sa general public, sa mga kababayan natin, bakit ba ito mahalaga in the final analysis?
Dahil sobrang weak na ng ating mga institusyon, pag hindi pa natin na-resolve yung usapin ng accountability, wala nang pupunta rito, wala nang mag-i-invest dito. Tingin mo yung Pax Silica na sinasabi pinagtatalunan ngayon na game changer sa ating ekonomiya, pupunta pa rito yan? Hindi yan pupunta rito.
So lalong sasadsad ang ekonomiya. Lahat tayo ay magsasuffer.
Everybody is watching, waiting for this impeachment. Lalo na yung mga lalo na yung mga foreign investors.
So wait and see na naman.
Sabi nga ni former Governor Gunikundo ng Central Bank kanina, tinanong namin siya, ano bang tingin mo yung pinakamahalaga rito? Pinakamahalaga rito yung governance. At yung governance nakadikit dito sa impeachment. Because people are watching. Meron bang mangyayari?
So tell that to your senator judges.
Baka hindi makinig. Lalo na sa akin. Baka sa'yo, makinig.
Bakit? Sa akin,
ikaw neutral ka, ako hindi.
Thank you for saying that. All right. Maraming salamat at as you always say, pinapagalitan ka ni Reg dahil kanina, paano mo sinasabi mong nagmamakaawa kami sa'yo, but we always appreciate your insights kahit walang talent fee.
Pag nagte-text kasi ako sa mga staff mo, pinapagalitan ako, ba't ka nagte-text? Di ba?
Oo nga. We thank you for your time this
Anytime.
rainy Friday evening. Enjoy your weekend. One News political pundit Ronald Llamas there. You are watching The Big Story on One News. Can Tab Baldwin and the Ateneo men's basketball team still participate in the UAAP? That's after the drowning of student athletes Rene Baterbonia and Divine Adili. The collegiate body's decision after the break. Welcome back to The Big Story. The Philippine economy grew in the second quarter at its slowest pace since 2009, excluding the pandemic. With this, the country has now fallen behind its ASEAN peers. Mobile journalist Fatima Baduria reports.
The Philippine economy posted a 2.3% year-on-year growth in the second quarter of 2026, the slowest growth recorded since the fourth quarter of 2009. It is also slower than the first quarter of 2021 or during the pandemic, when GDP contracted by 3.8%. Among the top contributors to the second quarter GDP's tempered momentum, the growth of wholesale and retail trade at 4.6%, education at 12.7%, and manufacturing at 2.6%. While services and agriculture posted growth at 4.5% and 2.7% respectively, the industry sector declined year-on-year by 2.4%. According to PSAU Sec Claire Dennis Mapa, this was driven by the 32.4% drop in government construction in relation to the flood control scandal, leading to a 13.9% decline in overall construction. The drop in government construction also led to the gross capital formation or investments declining by 9.2% year-on-year.
Partly because measures are being put in place to ensure that similar incidences will not happen again in the future, and also of these effects of cases that have been filed against perpetrators.
Nonetheless, Balisacan expressed his optimism that the Philippines is now approaching its economic recovery with the ongoing efforts of the government to sustain this growth. However, he admits the Philippine economy must significantly grow to reach the government's lowered growth targets of 3.5% to 4.5% for 2026.
The economy must grow by at least 4.4% in the second semester. This will be demanding, but the target remains within reach if you act with urgency, discipline, and close coordination across government.
While recovery needs to be sustained, he notes that risks remain with continued uncertainties in the Middle East and the prospect of El Nino and possible typhoons. Meanwhile, household spending also slowed with a year-on-year increase of 2.8% from 5.2% in the same period last year. The GDP for the second quarter of 2026 marks the fourth straight quarter of deceleration since the beginning of President Bongbong Marcos' term in 2022, when economy grew by 7.6% year-on-year. Among ASEAN countries, the Philippine economy posted the slowest growth, lagging behind Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and Thailand. Kapatid Fatima Baduria, We Are One News.
And now on to the weather. The low-pressure area that had been Maymay finally dissipated this afternoon. But rains continue in Luzon for the most part of Friday due to the southwest monsoon or habagat. In Benguet, strawberry and vegetable farmers struggled as creeks swelled. Visibility was also very poor as thick fog accompanied the downpour. Public Works Department personnel were on hand to clear roads as drainages had no longer or could no longer hold in water. Then there were also landslides. According to the NDRRMC, 4 have died due to the combined effects of Luis, Maymay, and the habagat. More than 1,500 individuals remain in evacuation centers. And it will still be a rainy weekend for most parts of Luzon as the southwest monsoon or habagat continues to trigger showers. Until tomorrow noon, heavy rainfall is expected over Zambales, Bataan, and Occidental Mindoro. Parts of northern and central Luzon, Metro Manila, and western Visayas may also see moderate to heavy rains. Meanwhile, from tomorrow noon through Sunday, heavy rains are possible over Ilocos Sur, La Union, Abra, Benguet, Zambales, Bataan, and Occidental Mindoro. Moderate to heavy rains may also affect several areas in northern and central Luzon, including Metro Manila. Then on Monday, parts of northern Luzon could see heavy rain, while other areas may experience moderate to heavy rainfall. The full list of affected areas is on your screens. Caskets with anti-China messages were mysteriously left across Metro Manila today. This comes as another survey reveals deep distrust among Filipinos when it comes to the superpower. Mobile journalist Daniel Dayaw reports.
5 caskets bearing anti-China and anti-communist messages were deliberately dumped in various parts of Metro Manila before dawn Friday, August 7. The National Capital Region Police Office said the caskets were found in Manila, Caloocan, Quezon City, and Makati City. The coffins were abandoned by masked individuals riding gray and white vans between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. August 7. In a statement, the NCRPO vowed to identify those behind the incident and file criminal cases. For its part, the Department of Foreign Affairs said it does not condone acts or threats of violence against any individual, including foreign nationals or officials. The DFA said it is coordinating with law enforcers to determine motive and perpetrators. The Chinese embassy has also condemned the incident and urged for a thorough probe. Meanwhile, a new social weather station survey shows Filipinos trust the United States and Japan the most among foreign nations, while China remains deeply distrusted. The June 2026 poll reveals the U.S. leading with a good net trust score of positive 42, followed closely by Japan at positive 36. Australia's positive 29 rating, while still good, continues its downward trend. Meanwhile, China scored a poor net trust rating of negative 36 amid ongoing maritime tensions. The survey had 1,200 adult respondents, with a margin of error of plus or minus 3%. And the DFA has challenged retired Supreme Court Senior Associate Justice Antonio Carpio to propose an alternative to the Philippines' provisional understanding with China. Earlier, Carpio called for the agreement on Ayungin Shoal resupply missions to be scrapped. He argued that the 2016 arbitral award had already settled the status of the West Philippine Sea feature. But the DFA defended the deal, saying it aims to prevent misunderstandings and miscalculations at sea and does not require the AFP to seek China's permission for resupply operations. The DFA reiterated that the government will continue to uphold the Philippine sovereign rights in its exclusive economic zone. Kapatid Mobile journalist Daniel Dayaw, we are One News.
The UAAP has permanently banned resigned Ateneo Blue Eagles head coach Tab Baldwin over the drowning of Rene Baterbonia and Divine Adili. Baldwin can no longer participate in any UAAP competition or related activity, nor can he enter any of the collegiate body's competition venues. The decision is final and non-appealable. Team manager CJ Kimpo, 6 assistant coaches, and a physical therapist were also suspended from the games until further determination by the UAAP board. During this period, they cannot participate in any activity, but unlike the decision for Baldwin, theirs may be appealed. The sanctions stem from a team-building activity at a resort in Dipaculao, Aurora. On June 8, rip currents hit the training and caused the drowning deaths of 19-year-old Baterbonia and 21-year-old Adili, the team's foreign student athlete from Nigeria. Reviewing the official reports of the CIDG and NBI, the UAAP board concluded that the Blue Eagles members present during the exercise were victims of the tragedy as well. And with this, the UAAP has allowed the Ateneo Blue Eagles to play for the upcoming season 89. This is under the condition that Ateneo undertakes a comprehensive reassessment of its men's basketball program to strengthen student-athlete protection, welfare, accountability, and institutional oversight. In a statement, Ateneo de Manila University expressed gratitude to the UAAP for allowing its players to join this season. Ateneo added it respects the penalties imposed on the university's athletics officials. This is a big story on One News. Oil prices are getting cheaper next week. We tell you by how much in a bit. Stay tuned.
affidavits are there for us to use, and we will use them. And if they want to recant it, so be it. But it will be in court already. It doesn't weaken or strengthen. But of course, it just points out to the fact that there are people working on his behalf to obstruct the ends of justice.
Just to clarify, you're saying po na posible na ang kampo po ni Martin Romualdez ang nasa likod sa pag-recant ng APA?
Siyempre. Sino pa? Sino pa ibang makikinabang dyan pag recant yan? O, di ba? Ang recantation is frowned upon by the courts. That is the way that the courts are supposed to treat recantations. Especially, ito nga, twice na nag-issue ng testimonies against Romualdez itong mga to. Kaya, when we bring them up as hostile witnesses, makikita nyo naman, lalabas namin sila as hostile witnesses.
What will happen doon sa apat na sinasagrikan sila? Itong affidavit ay dadalhin ba dito?
They'll be charged.
What charge, sir?
To be part of the, as part of the, we will do it, as part of the accused. Na-charge namin sila.
In which case?
That's natural. Kasi nga, kaya nga hindi sila chinarge. Kasi nga, tumitistigo sila. Pag hindi sila tumitistigo, hindi charge namin sila. O co-accused na sila.
Co-accused sila ni Martin Romualdez?
Magiging co-accused sila. Meron silang
in what particular
accessories.
case, sir?
Accessories after the fact. Covering up. Pinagtatakpan nila. Kung ano ang nagpalit sa kanilang isipan. Meron rin naman kami recording ng lahat na nangyari. May recording kami ng lahat. Kaya, okay lang yan. Kasi nga, some lawyers think that it's still the same old days, that they can frustrate the ends of justice that way. We will not take it sitting down. Lalabanan namin sila hanggang dulo. We will identify them and make sure that they get dropped from the role of attorneys.
Sir, just
Play dirty, then you have to face up to the consequences of playing dirty with us.
You're still watching The Big Story. The Justice Department is yet to give an official statement on the extradition request of the United States for Kingdom of Jesus Christ founder Apollo Kibuloy. The Foreign Affairs Department has confirmed it has transmitted the request to the DOJ. Kibuloy is facing a string of charges in America, which include conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking by force, fraud and coercion, sex trafficking of children, and bulk cash smuggling. At this point, international law expert Rene Sarmiento said the Justice Department should determine if the request is sufficient in form and substance, after which it can file a petition with the regional trial court. The RTC then conducts a summary hearing to determine if Kibuloy is extraditable or not.
For an offense or crime to be extraditable, it has to be punishable, defined and punished as a crime in both the two states, yung requesting state and yung requested states. Article 11 of the treaty gives the Philippines, which in this case is the requested state, the parang dalawang options po. Number one, considering na may pending cases siya dito sa Pilipinas, then we can postpone the surrender. Now, yung other option is temporary surrender to the U.S. courts, particularly sa mga California courts, para to face trial.
Meantime, in a post on Facebook, Nicolas Torre III reflected on how he led the arrest of Kibuloy back in 2024. He said the rule of law must always prevail, regardless of influence, power, or popularity. Torre, now MMDA General Manager, was director of PNP Region 11 when Kibuloy was captured at the KOJC compound in Davao City. For Senator Risa Ontiveros, it's about time Kibuloy faces his charges. Ontiveros, as chair of the Senate Committee on Women, Children, and Family Relations, initiated legislative probes on Kibuloy's alleged crimes in 2023.
I'm just glad na hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas, dalawang jurisdictions, pati sa US, gustong singilin ang accountability niya on behalf of yung mga victim survivors. Sana po ay ituloy na nila yung proseso, lalo na't in-endorse na ng Department of Foreign Affairs sa kanila, sa DOJ, itong extradition treaty. Dapat wala na talagang matirang kahit katiting na impluensya si Kibuloy dito sa ating bansa.
In other news, motorists could see a bigger relief next week following this week's modest fuel price rollback. According to Jetty Petroleum President Leo Bellas, diesel and gasoline prices could both go down by as much as 5 pesos per liter. Bellas said global oil prices fell amid hopes of easing tensions between the United States and Iran. However, he said on-again, off-again conflicts in the Middle East could still cause oil prices to fluctuate. It's that time of the year again. The 22nd Cine Malaya Philippine Independent Film Festival is officially taking over Metro Manila this weekend, and it's our big picture tonight. Under this year's banner theme, Real Reflections, 19 full-length and short indie films are competing for the prestigious Balanghay trophies. Competing for the main competition are 2 valid IDs starring Pokwang and Mag-iina, featuring Janine Gutierrez, Cherry Pie Picache, Agot Isidro, and Jackie Lu Blanco. Also in the running are Tirik, Kaka sa Yawan, Hand of God, and Tayo Lang ang Nakakaalam. Rounding out the competition are Status Rejected, Animal or A.Ni.Mal, and Gang Gang. Tickets are available online for daily screenings at Shangri-La Plaza, Gateway Mall 2, and select Ayala Mall. Cinemalaya 2026 runs through August 18. And those are the big stories this week. I'm Ces Orenia Drilon. Kapatid, we are One News, your side all the time. We leave you with a One News station ID. Good night and have a great weekend.